So I'm going to show you how we do a titration to get the best possible quality for our results. Now notice, first thing you got to do is make sure that your stopcock is closed and you fill up your burette with whatever you're going to do your titration with. Now I'm opening and closing it, and you notice that there's a bubble set that I just managed to get out of the tip. We've got to clear out those bubbles. Otherwise, they're going to fill up when I open the stopcock, and we're going to measure that as dispensed volume, and it's going to throw off our measurement. Now we come up here to record our initial volume. So we're going to zoom in a little bit, and we're going to read our initial volume. Now remember, 0 is at the top of the burette, 50 is at the bottom. I've got my hand behind it for some contrast. If you look closely, we're past 1, 2, down by the 9 line, and if we look closely, it's halfway. It's actually right about the line, so I'm going to call that 2.90. 2, 3, and then reading downward. That's what I was showing with my finger. So 2.90. We record that immediately so that we don't forget. If we're doing this in an actual experiment, we'd put this directly into our notebook. You shouldn't be putting this on a scrap paper. This is a demonstration, and to make sure you can read it, I went for the larger piece of paper instead. Now we set up our receptacle underneath, and notice that I have a red stir bar there. Red just because it's easy to see while it's moving. I'm going to go for a moderate speed on that. I want to get thorough mixing, but I don't want a crazy tornado to form. So I'll set that up, and also I'll set it up offset so that I have good turbulence in there and that the drop is going to be thoroughly mixed. If I drop it right in the center of a whirlpool, it's going to just kind of swirl in slowly and it won't get thorough mixing. Now I turn the stopcock so that the stopcock is in front so that I can show it better. You can have it arranged however is most comfortable. Now I've got it dripping in fast form here. I'm feeling out exactly where the edge is. That'll show me when I'm going one drop at a time. That way, later on, when I do need to dispense one drop at a time and have some control over that, I'll be able to do it because I got to feel out exactly where that hole is in the middle of our stopcock. Okay, so we're going to dispense for a while here. And you can notice over on the other side where you can see my whole body, I'm trying to stay right down there so I'm looking at my solution. I don't care much about the volume right now. Now, if I've done a couple of runs already and I have some idea of where my solution's endpoint should be, I can quickly race to about a milliliter or two before that, stop, and then go one drop at a time after it's thoroughly mixed. Right now I'm doing my first run, so I'm going slower, and you can see I've slowed it down, so I'm going one drop at a time. We can set it as drop-wise. I'm going to go ahead and close my valve for a second, then open it back up again. Now I'm going to get it going in faster form so that I can do a bit faster dispensing and get to the volume that I need to be at. You can see so far I don't have any color changes happening. So I'm still not close to my endpoint. Always remember, and this is a good time to remember if you haven't, that you're going to need to make sure you have your dye in there. Now before you get to your endpoint, rinse down any drops that have splashed up onto the side too with some DI water like I just did, so that it's down there to be reacted and measured. Now adding some water isn't going to throw off your measurement because what you're really doing is you're trying to find out how many moles you have. Oh, I'm starting to get that pink color forming. That's one of the reasons that our equipment is often white on the top, so we can see the color. Now, I'm going to get that hanging drop over to see if that's enough to get to my endpoint. It wasn't quite enough to get a persistent pink. We want the pink to last for about 10 to 15 seconds. If it lasts longer than that, we went too far. But you can see that that's only lasting about 3 or 4 seconds. So it looks like we need to just add just a little tiny bit more. And we should be right at our endpoint. Just added one drop, adding that last one. Here we are. You can see the pink colors in there. It's thoroughly mixed. I've got it closed. I do still have a hanging drop there, so I'll need to do a DI water transfer in just a second to make sure that it's moved over to the other flask. Now we're going to go up and read our final volume. Now the final volume, because the burette's turned a little bit, it's a little bit hard to see the numbers. Remember that we're counting from low at the top to high values at the bottom. So I'm getting in close to measure it. And we're going to record that value in just a moment. You can see we're right by the big line, but we're up about 2 small markings. And so that would end up being 12.90. So you can see that I dispensed 10.00 milliliters. I would not describe that as exactly 10, because remember, when you say exactly 10, you're communicating that you know it to as many sig figs as are possible. And we don't know that. We know it for our tens place, our ones place, the tenths, first decimal place, and the ones place.